Maybe you're going through something right now and you're saying to yourself, this is such a bad situation, it's awful. Or maybe you're saying that it's great, it's a good situation. But really, you don't know. It's neither good or bad, it's just the way that it is. And we never know of a situation, whether it's good or bad. And to explain, let me tell you a story of an old Chinese farmer. A long time ago, a Chinese farmer lost his horse. It ran away, and the neighbors came around and told him, "Well, that's too bad. This is a bad fortune." And the farmer replied, "Maybe." And then the next day, his horse returned with two other wild horses. And then the neighbors came around and told him, "Well, this is great fortune." And then the old man said, "Maybe." And then the next day, as his son was trying to tame one of the wild horses that his horse brought back, he fell off and broke his leg. And then when the neighbors came around and told him, "Well, this is bad fortune, it's too bad," the farmer said, "Well, maybe." And then in the following days, the emperor declared war on a neighboring nation, and he ordered all men to come fight. And many died in this war, but the farmer's son was spared and didn't have to fight because of his broken leg. And then the neighbors came around and said, "This is such a great thing, this is good fortune." And the old man said, "Well, maybe." I really like this story. Actually, the first time I heard it, it really blew my mind and changed my perspective on how I looked at my situation. And I actually read that in China, when something bad happens, they actually say to each other, "Remember the old man who lost his horse," or the old farmer who lost his horse. It's such a great story. I actually love it. Because you see, the way that we look at our situation determines whether or not it's going to be good or bad. It's all based on our perception of the situation, what the story that we tell ourselves. There might be two people that have completely contradictory opinions of the same situation. Maybe it's raining outside. One person is very happy that it's raining. His crops get rain and get water and they can grow. And the other person is sad because of raining. But the situation itself, you see, it's neither good or bad. It's just as it is. It's just raining. That's it. It's not good rain. It's not bad rain. It's not good weather. It's not bad weather. There is no such thing as good or bad weather. Good or bad situation. It's just the way as it is. Without any judgments. It is only us that put our judgments on these situations, labeling them and categorizing them as good, as bad, as awful, as unforgivable. And most of the time, these categorizations and these labels are just not true. And I mean, you can probably relate to this farmer story. Haven't you had these moments where you thought it was awful, such a bad thing that has happened, and then actually it turned out to be good? Or vice versa, a good thing happened that actually turned out to be quite bad. For example, there was one time when I wanted to go on some trip with my classmates, and my parents didn't let me, and I thought that it was such an awful thing that I'm going to miss out on this. But actually, what were we going to do really on that trip? We were just going to drink and do some degenerate stuff. So I'm very glad actually that they didn't let me go there. But at that time, it was awful. And you probably also have these stories remembering to the past. But when you think about it, could it be true that the bad situation that you're going through right now, maybe it's not that bad? Could it be that you're wrong and it's going to be great actually in the long run? Or maybe the good thing that you're going through is actually not that good. And this is actually what the story is telling us, that we don't know. We just don't have that much information to know. But this story really helps us to not put too much weight on the past and to not worry about the uncertainty of the future, but to just live in this present moment, truly living this moment and looking at life not as good, not as bad, but just the way as it is. So the next time something happens to you, maybe you get sad about something, you're sad about the situation that you're in, frustrated about it, or maybe overly excited about it, thinking that it's a great situation. Just remember the old man who lost his horse. Remind yourself of this story. And also remind yourself that you just don't know. We just don't know if it's good or bad. Tell yourself, well, maybe. Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. Just be here in this present moment. Taking deep breaths and just experiencing this moment as it is, without our judgments. Because we just don't know. There are just too many variables at play to determine what's going to happen. And you see, we wouldn't want it any other way. We actually don't want to know what's going to happen. Because having everything under control, predicted and known, is a false ambition that we have. Because imagine just for a second if you had everything under your control, everything known and predicted. You would enjoy yourself for a couple of months, but then you would get bored. Just in the same way, when chess players know that the other player will win in 5 moves, and there's nothing that they can do about it, they stop playing, they shake hands and stop playing, because there's no point to it. It's not worth a candle, or however that expression goes. Or the same way, when you know the outcome of a cards game, you stop playing and shuffle the cards again and play another one. Because there's no surprise in it. You already know what's going to happen. You see, Alan Watts said about this, that it's like having everything under control is like making love to a plastic woman. There's no surprise in it. There's no sudden answer. And you see, let's say, for example, if technology did get to a point where we had everything predicted and known and under control, and we would have this great machine that would grant us any wish that we wanted, just by the press of a button. Of course, we would go around fulfilling all of our wishes, pressing every single button, all sorts of pleasures imaginable. But after a while, after like 3 months, a couple of months of all sorts of button smashing, we would start getting bored of it. We would want something new, something exciting. And then we would see another button that is labeled surprise. And then after we have explored all sorts of pleasures imaginable and all sorts of adventures, we would want something that we don't know what's going to happen. And then we would press that surprise button. And then here you are watching this video. Because that's what we truly want. A surprise. Something that we don't know what it is going to be. And when you ask, okay, but what kind of surprise? You can't say a pleasant surprise because then it wouldn't be a surprise. You see, you need pleasant and unpleasant surprises. You can't have one without the other. So really, you just got to have trust and faith in yourself and in the universe or in God, that it's unfolding as it should be. And that is all as it's supposed to be, and everything is just perfect and harmonious as it is. I really love this Chinese story, like one of my favorite stories probably. And if you're interested, if you have any questions, I'm doing free calls. You can send me an email and we'll arrange a video call, and you can ask me any question that you want, completely free. Send me an email if you want that. And thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here. All the love towards you. Have a great day and goodbye.